That's a toad. Get in there. Yeah. Hello, beautiful. Man, that. There's a full grown one right there. That's the kind we need. You know, that fit.
I kind of like this net thing. Look at that. That's perfect right there.
No. Get over here. Get over here. Come on. Jump this way. Fat girl. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, Bass Fishing World. Nearly 200 anglers took out onto Lake Erie to fish days 1 and 2, and only 50 are left to here on day 3 to battle it out to see who the top 10 will be to move on to fish tomorrow, the 4th and final day, and a shot at $125,000 for first place, and a record-breaking $1.3 million being paid off on this super event. Welcome everyone to Sandusky, Ohio, and stop number 6 of the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit in our 3rd of 3 super tournaments. And this has been a super event so far, guys. We've had anglers going to multiple places, some staying close, fishing the islands here in Lake Erie, some making the nearly 200-mile round trip up to Detroit River, St. Clair, risking rough water, broken gear, the lot on the line. And then we have a third group that really has not been talked about a whole lot, but has slowly been climbing up the leaderboard, and that is the guys focusing on those largemouth. And there's something to be said. I'm going to see if Marty's got any predictions whether that'll play. I know Todd will have some insight on that as well. But you can't argue one of our biggest, our biggest fish weighed in this tournament so far has been a 6-pound largemouth. So you can't completely ignore that bite. Good morning, everyone. I'm Travis Moran, coming at you live from the studios here in Benton, Kentucky, alongside, yet again, Red Gold Tomatoes Pro, Todd Hollowell, and MLF's very own Marty Stone. Guys, this has been everything we wanted it to be so far.
Big water, big names, big smallmouth. We got a treat for us today on live, and guys like Justin Lucas, Josh Bertrand, some of the best of the game. Catching smallmouth. We're watching Jacob Wheeler making another cut. Marty, what do you expect to see here on day 3?
Yeah, Todd talked about the super tournament, or Travis did. In the super tournament, I'm looking at super winds and super waves. These big runs have just been massive, almost indescribable. And today, the wind's going to be another major factor in this thing. But make no mistake about it, these guys are going to get out there. They're going to get after these smallmouth again. We've seen some great catches, big smallmouth. Hasn't been easy by no stretch of the imagination. It has not been easy. I think Mother Nature's going to get another vote in today's competition. Going to throw a monkey wrench in, especially toward the end of the day.
Yep, and we've seen some great fish catch, like you said, some big smallmouth, that 4 to 5 pound bronze bricks. Let's take a look at some of these catches from the tournament so far.
Day 1, we got to follow one of the best on this body of water, Scott Dobson, a Michigan guy, a guy that's won the points in the BFL Michigan division multiple times, putting on a clinic in the Detroit River, Marty Stone.
Yeah, and he's in 8th place. We had the camera with him in the first day of the event. Caught some on a jerkbait and a drop shot, too. Dobson's been in the Detroit River and also at Lake St. Clair. I'm going to go ahead, and this won't be a bold prediction. But on the final round, I think this angler's going to make top 10. And speaking of top 10s, Wheeler's back-to-back, possibly 3 times in a row, top 10. Made a big gamble, went up to St. Clair yesterday.
He's using all the different features of this playing field. Lake Erie. He's using some of the backwaters and largemouth. He's using the Detroit River. Yesterday, he took advantage of the wind letting up. You can see right there, it was slick yesterday afternoon on Lake St. Clair. Made the long run. Came back with 17 pounds and 14 ounces to back up a 20-pound first day. Jacob Wheeler in the mix here on day 3, Travis.
Yep, Josh Bertrand having a fantastic day one. Actually was our leader going into day two, but then really struggled on day two. But since we got to watch him on live, he made some key adjustments, had a spot where he could get a limit, then cold up from there and kept himself competitive in this, still weighing in 17.5 pounds to put him in the fourth place position going into third day here.
One of the big questions was Lake St. Clair. Was it going to dominate this event, or were somebody going to find him on Lake Erie? Listen, Bertrand Lucas, Jeremy Lawyer, this guy right here, they've all settled into a key area, Marty, with a lot of full, quality big smallmouth from Lake Erie.
It really has. What they did is they sacrificed the quantity that was up at St. Clair in place of the quality that's been out on Lake Erie. So far, this event, in my opinion, Lake Erie has shined. If these anglers can get back out there, I don't see it being any different. We're going to have about 150 less boats out there, so it should free up some water. Then over to Justin Lucas, who's been in control of this thing almost from start to finish, somewhere in the top three at every moment. Coming into the day with the lead, been very consistent with 21 pounds day one, 19-14 on day two.
Justin Lucas, one of the best smallmouth anglers on the planet and on a roll, Marty. We've seen him do that on the Bass Pro Tour lately, and will he dominate this event? We're going to find out today.
Absolutely. He's one of the anglers. We're going to see kind of some different camps out here today, and he's one of the anglers in the Lake Erie around the islands camp. And Jacob Wheeler. Todd, you mentioned that Jacob Wheeler was actually using, this entire fishery. He made his run all the way up to St. Clair. He fished the west side of Erie, and now it looks like he's fishing the islands already this morning. But why don't you break down some of these key areas that these anglers are using so far?
You bet. If you're just tuning into FLW Live, welcome. We got a great show for you today and lots of smallmouth on tap. Hey, we're going out of Sandusky, Ohio. This is Lake Erie, the Great Lakes. Famous fishery, a lot of tournament history coming out of here. When these guys come out of the breakwalls, they're entering into the big pond, Lake Erie. Some of them are making the choice, do I make a long run today or do I stay close? Listen, that's really been the biggest decision for our entire field. Some guys made it halfway across the lake the first day and realized that was a bad decision. Other guys braved it 80 nautical miles up to the center of Lake St. Clair, where we've seen a lot of action, and that's really a big decision. We've got guys going up there today. So you're talking about long boat rides, a lot of variables, the wind, getting fuel, a lot of big boat wakes, and a lot of things that can go wrong, Marty Stone. And you're noticing there in the red part of this map, Canada's off limits. You're seeing a key area that has really developed through the first 2 days.
It really has. What we've watched is above there at Gull Island and also the Kelly Shoal area. And it's probably about a 5-mile radius, and you can take it all the way out to Bass Islands, where the guys that are catching these fish on Erie have sort of just, this is it, this is the place. Not large groups of fish like we're used to looking at on Erie, but the quality has been there all week.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And making that long run has been very risky. You guys have been really updating us on how big those waves and how challenging that can get. And then hearing these anglers talk about the broken trolling motors, the lost graphs, and just the mangled gear that happens trying to make that run always keeps us watching the weather. And so Daniel Fennell was watching the weather. There was a question whether they were actually going to let these guys make the run today. But Daniel Fennell made the tough call. It seems like the wind has laid down. And we've actually got a clip of him here from this morning talking about his decision letting these anglers go.
Good morning. As tournament director here in the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, we've had to monitor the weather for this event the entire time. The good news this morning, we actually have the most favorable conditions that we've had in the morning for the takeoff for these guys' initial runs out here on Erie and St. Clair and Detroit River. And so that's a very good bonus for these anglers. They won't have to fight the weather on the way out and on the way in. We do have some weather coming in this afternoon, some wind that's going to be out of the east-northeast, and all the anglers have been made aware of it. They know what they're dealing with. They know that they have got to account for that when they make their runs back in this afternoon. Good news, all 50 of them, they actually have 30 additional minutes to make it back today. Check-in for the full field will be at 3:30. And so that has given them a little bit more time to be able to adjust and acclimate for what they'll run into this afternoon. Again, anybody making the long run to St. Clair, they do have a little bit of help here with the island chain that comes out of Sandusky. That will help break up those waves a little bit on that side. Anybody fishing on the east side of those islands will be pretty aware of the weather as it picks up through the afternoon. But we feel very good and confident that it's going to be a great day out there. We're excited to see everybody back in this afternoon and have a day 3 weigh-in and cut this field down to the top 10. Championship Friday right around the corner. But it's been an awesome event so far, and we can't wait to keep it rolling.
Thank you, Daniel Fennell. Some excellent insight that what went into that. I know talking to the anglers, they were hungry to get out there. I know the anglers fishing the islands in Lake Erie, they wanted to get to their waters. And then, talking to Spencer Sheffield last night, he was like, Travis, if they open this up, I'm heading down there. I know how to run this water. I'm going to be as safe as I possibly can. But he knows he has the winning fish up there at St. Clair.
Fennell was in a tough spot this morning. As a tournament director, what you're hoping for is you want to see this wind at 5 to 10 and even less, or you want to see it at 20 plus, because then the decision becomes a no-brainer. But when you're dealing with these winds right now and it's sub 10 on here, but the afternoon predictions is kicking up to 20, man, you're in a rock and a hard place there. You really are. These big waves and these big rides, I've heard too many anglers talk about the fact that it's the roughest ride they've ever made in their life.
Yeah, and Marty, we've got actually one of those guys making the long run, Alton Jones Jr. He is well on his way. We're not going to probably see him for another hour or so, but we actually have some clips from him this morning getting ready to make that run.
Sandusky, Ohio, on the Great Lakes. I say the Great Lakes because we're not just fishing Lake Erie. We're running all the way to Lake St. Clair like we did the first 2 days. It's been really rough, but it's been doable. But today I think it's going to be a whole nother animal. It looks okay right now, but I know coming back, my wind app is saying gusting to 22 out of the northeast by the time we're due in. And Lake Erie's, you got to respect it. It's big water, but we really, doing anything else than running to St. Clair would be throwing in the towel for us. So we're going to go. If I can get 2.5, 3 hours of fishing, I think I've got a good chance at catching a solid bag of smallmouth, 17, 18 pounds. And if I get fortunate like yesterday, in about an hour and a half, I had almost 22 pounds. So we're going to go give her all she's got. It's the scariest, most treacherous run I've ever made. But, man, if I have to say anything, this Phoenix 921 is an absolute monster. It's the first day, I don't know how I made it. I really don't. But this boat allowed me to do it, and I hope she's got one more day in her.
I mean, I know what we're going to do. I'm all in on the smallmouth, and I'm all in on Lake Erie. And we're going to get some wind today, quite a bit of it. I know some of these guys are talking about not going to St. Clair because of it. I mean, I hope that happens. I hope they can't go, or, I mean, the fishing's so much better over at St. Clair than it is here, but you get a lot more fishing time here, and the quality's good, but it takes all day to catch a limit, so I don't know. I feel all right about it. We'll just go out there and pound it with the flatworm again and see what can happen.
So I was almost sure going into this morning that we were going to be locked into the bay. That was the contingency plan on wind, and we get out here and it's calm. It's not going to be calm all day, but it's calm right now. So we're going out, which is good. It's going to give us an opportunity to do what we've been doing the last couple days, and when it picks up this afternoon, we're just going to have to fight through it and tough it out, and we've got to come in with a big bag today. Today is it's a big day. I mean, we're 1.5 pounds out of the lead, and we got to catch 20 pounds. That's the bottom line.
We got all the hammers in the top 10. Bertrand, Lucas is leading. Spencer Sheffield, I mean, all these guys, Lawler, and then of course, little Alton Jones Jr. Jr. going to catch them. We got some dudes that are flat out hammers, and they're going to catch me today. Weather looks fair right now to run. Went to St. Clair yesterday. I'm not going to St. Clair today. I'm gonna rotate on some of my stuff. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna have to dial in some stuff here. A couple places I've not fished since day one of the tournament. So hopefully, I don't know if I can make all the rotation on everything that I want to, but we're gonna have to catch a 20+ pound bag to put ourselves in contention to win tomorrow. So that is our plan. We just gotta go make it happen.
At this point, everything's icing on the cake. We wanted to make the FLW title. We wanted to get paid up here, and both those happened. Do we want to stay in contention, catch another 20 pounds? Absolutely. Might even try and catch 25, but you can only do so much. It's one of these. We are on Lake Erie, and I've never been here before, so let's just hope the fish cooperate and everything's out there. We're going to definitely get to fish a little bit easier this morning. It seems like the wind's light right now, so let's hope for some big bites early.
Well, it seems hard watching those guys talk about how windy and tough the conditions are going to be when it just looks like the most beautiful morning I've ever seen. It just shows you how big that water is and how fast it can change out there for these anglers.
It can get mean. We saw it was mean right out of the gate on day one, but it looks nice out there. And the challenge for some of these guys is they're going to make a pretty smooth run to where they're going this morning if you're headed up to the western side of Lake Erie or even up to Lake St. Clair. But the ride back is really where this is going to get dicey and interesting. Guys are going to have to give themselves a lot more time to get back. And one of the things you're going to see on FLW Live today are some of the best smallmouth guys in the business break down what they're fishing on Lake Erie, how they're catching them, the areas that are set up, the shoals, the current, everything that you're going to see is, boy, I'm taking notes. This is fun. This is an education on FLW Live, Marty.
It really is. I mean, you're talking about hammers, and Wheeler, you add Wheeler into that hammer group, the best tactician in the game right now. He's used multiple areas throughout this lake. He's put himself in the position to win possibly 2 events on the FLW Pro Circuit. He won the first one at Chickamauga, was just a notch away from winning the one at La Crosse, Mississippi. Do not count him out from making back-to-back-to-back top 10s.
Absolutely, and he said it best. This top 10 is stacked here on the third day of this event. And guys, you guys are going to watch it all from our 6 live cameras. We're going to be going out of the water right now. For you guys watching on social media, remember that we are going from 8 to 9 on Facebook and YouTube, but then at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to switch over to FLWfishing.com, where you can still watch live, but you can also see the unofficial leaderboard and all the blog updates. You'll always get the complete coverage on FLWfishing.com. And then later, Bill McDonald. He's going to join us for his take on the lake. Looking forward to that. But let's head out into the water now. And speaking of, Jacob Wheeler.
Well, we caught us one this morning. Had 2 other opportunities. But man, we're having a little bit of trouble with our trolling motor, so I think the board went out. I don't know. I'm seeing them here too, but oh, it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. Has a drum. But, trying to come up with a game plan of how I can attack this today. I don't know if I need to run in. This troll motor probably will go out. Always something.
Here's a replay. Fish number 1 for Jacob Wheeler.
That's a good one. Gosh, dude, don't do that. There you go. There we go. There you go. Starts the morning. Dang, that's one come off too. 2 3/4, chunky.
Hearing Wheeler talk about equipment, trolling motor maybe possibly going out, man, he's going to have a tough decision because that ride out there and ride back in, I mean, he's right there around the Bass Islands and a lot of the other places we've seen anglers catch. But that could be an hour to 2 hours, and with this pending wind coming, he's got a hard decision to make right now.
A lot of guys talked about an early bite if you tuned in on days 1, day 2. A lot of these Lake Erie guys said, man, when you first get out there, you've got a great opportunity to catch a big one. We've seen a few big ones already caught this morning. Jacob says he's had 3 bites, only got 1 in the boat, but he knows this is a critical little bite window. He's got to catch them, and it'll be interesting to see if he makes the trek back to get some equipment worked on. I know he's got some other areas that he can sample. Listen, day 1, he told me I made my milk run through Lake Erie. He said he went through 130 miles round trip, worked through a lot of different places, and worked his way up to 20 pounds. Yesterday, went completely new water. He ran up to the Detroit River, all the way to Lake St. Clair, fished around up there, said he had 16, 17 pounds, made a few stops in the Detroit River on his way back, ended up with 17, 14, and told me he ran 180 miles yesterday, guys. So, you know, one of the things that you want to come up to this area with, if you're going to come fishing up here, is a nice gas card. You are going to spend plenty of money on the fuel.
And you can't help but wonder, you know, Jacob, we were talking about that trolling motor issue. Is this kind of a hangover, do you think, from the run yesterday from St. Clair? When you come running back, that rough water, your gear takes a beating. But then as you come back in and weigh in, you actually don't get to try out your gear. Your trolling motor could have some issues, and you don't realize it until you're out here starting the tournament on day 3.
It's the hangover from 2 days combined and all the practice. I mean, these guys had 4 days of practice out here, too. I mean, your equipment, for us to say it takes a beating, that's the understatement of the world. Wheeler's got a lot of experience on these big waters, and it's just, I don't care how experienced you are and how slow you take it, in what equipment you run, you eventually, it's going to catch up to you.
We talked about Josh Bertrand struggling on day 2, but today comes out and he has gotten off to a quick start. This could be a good sign for things to come for Josh Bertrand. Here's a Phoenix replay at one of these fish so far this morning.
He came in so quick. My gosh, he came in quick. And, oh, what a toad, man. Look at that thing. I mean, that...
Now we're back live. Josh Bertrand, 3 fish in the boat so far, around 11 pounds.
This was the same kind of start he had his first morning. His first morning, he told me he caught 3 really quick.
Okay. Thanks, man. Yeah, so we've been off to a better start today, no question. It's 8:20 right now. We've got here at about 7:30 after the ride. So 3 fish in the boat, and 2 of them are really nice ones. One is one that you'd like to not have at the end of the day, but definitely happy to get a few early. I mean, we've got the day now to get 2 or 3 big bites. It's a lot of fishing, and I'm sure y'all have been talking about the wind forecast this morning, and it's really not blowing yet. It's choppy out here, but it's not rough, and I know it's coming. I know we've got, the wind is coming, and I don't know how bad it's going to be. So what we're fishing here is really exposed to it. It's not gonna make the fish bite any less, but I mean, you get to a point to where it gets so rough where you actually have to start drifting rather than sitting over specific spots. It just makes it harder to fish. So when it's that windy, this is a great wind right here. But all that to say, it would be amazing to get a couple good bites this morning, a couple more, and have a good bag early. That way, we're not desperate when we're drifting across 7-footers. I don't think we're gonna get 7-footers, but I just know it's gonna get rougher. This area right here has a ton of bait this morning. I mean, there aren't a million fish in this part of the lake in general, so there aren't a million fish up here, but there's more bait than there's been, and less boats than there's been. So those 2 factors right there help a lot. The amount of fish that have been caught this morning are about what was caught yesterday on this shoal. I just wasn't lucky enough to catch any of them yesterday, so we got other stuff to run, but I'm definitely gonna sit here for at least 30 more minutes, and if I catch one, I'll stay even longer. But I mean, 2 of the fish we've caught have been above average size, and those are the ones we need. 20 pounds is a good number to always shoot for, but if you really want to make a move or do something, you got to catch 22, 24 to 24 pounds. Easier said than done, but it's absolutely possible. I mean, we're 3, 4 to 5 pound fish away from that right now. We've got a 5 and a 4 1/4, something like that. Those are 2 of the 5 that you need at the end of the day. But man, there is a lot of bait down there. It's pretty interesting.
What always amazes me with these guys like Bertrand and Lucas and others that are great on their electronics, especially and Wheeler as well with the forward-facing electronics, being able to understand what they see in water like this. To me, this is the perfect smallmouth chop. This is that range where you can fish. I mean, we're looking here at Lawyer as well. They can fish in this. This is what they want.
Jeremy Lawyer, our only angler that's weighed in over 20 pounds both days. 20 pounds, 14 ounces day one, 20 pounds, 4 ounces on day two.
Locked himself up into the upcoming title event, 36 coming into this event, needed a good finish. I think he more than accomplished that goal.
We heard him say yesterday on live that he wanted wind. Well, guess what, Jeremy Lawyer? You got it today, my friend.
Come on, boys.
Be careful what you ask for on this lake.
You don't even have to move. Just open your mouth. What's that? Well, it's been a pretty slow morning. We have a barrel full of trash fish, but I'm not seeing near the amount of life I was seeing yesterday. And when I do, we've caught several drum, one nice great big walleye, but it just seems like there's just not as much activity. There's still several fish kind of poked around the boulders. They're really tight, which I thought that'd be a little bit better, but either they're not bass or I just can't get them to bite, so I don't know. I'm actually just kind of floating down some new water right now, just feeling like I'm working the edge of a reef, that the wind's kind of wrapping around and might possibly have a group of fish on that somebody hasn't pestered. You know, we all started down there this morning on our same place, Webster and Bertrand, and they both caught one, but you know, it just, to me, just didn't seem like there was a lot going on, and I know Webster's going to sit there about all day, so I wanted to just kind of see if I could mill around and find a new group of fish, because there's no way, even if I could make tomorrow, I could win on them same fish. We've just absolutely trashed them too hard, and there's not enough of them replenishing, and so it just doesn't seem like that's, you know, the right thing to do to try to win. But got to survive the day before. It's definitely a lot rougher, but it's not unfishable. I mean, I'm still getting, you know, great presentations. I'm still seeing everything go right down to them, and actually a little old group of them a minute ago was on a tip of a little overhang, and I just about bet anything that they was a group of smallmouth, and when my drop shot and worm landed in them, they just took off like a covey of quail in 7 different directions, and I didn't get a bite. So obviously, I parted them. I was that close, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't the right deal to give them the bite. And they may not have been, bass, but boy, they sure set up looking like them. But we're just going to keep on rolling on. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 little sweet spots up here in front of me, a couple 100 yards that has been good to me. It really bailed me out yesterday, so. I mean, I'm optimistic. I'm definitely not bummed out just because I went a couple of hours without a bite, or an hour and a half, or hour, or whatever it's been. But it was like this a lot in practice. I went 3 or 4 hours, both days I tried it in practice without catching one, but at the end of the day, I still had like 4 bites one day and 6 the next. So, there's bites to be had out here. But I really wish it would have been a slick day, and we could have showcased what this place is capable of producing, because we would have been able to run everything we had. We'd have fished it thoroughly, and it seemed like, especially in the evening times in practice, when the lake slicked off a lot of days, we had a couple of pretty nice days here in practice. That's when the big ones really got up there and roamed, and you can kind of sneak up on them. I've noticed today that some of the fish, as I'm going to them and I'm pounding down in the water, my trolling motor's coming out of the water, they're going the other way, no doubt about it. Now, they may not be bass, but whatever they are, definitely, well, there's one right there sitting perfect. Whatever they are running, and they're tired of everybody being out here trying to kick their teeth in and sitting on top of them constantly, and I'm sure it just works on all these fish, even though these fish are from the Great Lakes and probably used to that. But I don't know. We're going to keep trying to stroke on them and just do what we can. It's really fortunate that I didn't have this kind of day yesterday, and got off to a little bit of a start, and this could have happened on day 2 and could have been a disaster, points and the whole 9 yards. So I'm pleased with everything, and from this point forward, we're just going to try the best we can. It's about all you can do. I've been in a lot worse holes at this level, and we got a long ways to go yet. Day's just getting started good. As long as Mother Nature doesn't just absolutely trash us, we'll be fine.
Now to Justin Lucas, who's had a relatively consistent 2 days.
Let's make another move real quick.
What you're going to see with a lot of these guys like Lucas Bertrand and probably Wheeler as well too, there's going to be a huge sense of urgency. You're going to want to get as much damage done as you can. Here's a replay from the one fish he's caught so far.
Oh, got you. Yeah. Traditional 2D. You know where it is them. No dead fish yet. Mine are all doing like real good.
Justin has talked that he's only gotten 7 bites each day. Yesterday had 7 bites, only caught 5 of those. But it was the right 5. That's why he's here, because he knows when he does get bit, he's connecting with quality fish. Put him at 19 pounds, 14 ounces day 2, and had him leading this tournament going to day 3.
What he's looking for is he's got a lot of areas that's got small, isolated boulders, and gravelly points and rocks.
We don't catch one here, we're leaving.
It's literally 1 cast, 2 casts. He understands what was there. What I found unique when I was talking to him last night, I asked him, I said, Justin, I'm not watching you catch a lot of drum. And he got a little quiet, and I said, are you to the point you can tell the difference? He's like, I can definitely tell you when there's smallmouth down there, and every now and then a drum will sit up and fool me. But for the most part, I can tell the difference on my electronics, but how the two set up. Bertrand said the same thing. That's how dialed in they are.
I'll add that Spencer Sheffield was saying pretty much the same thing as well. And he said, that every once in a while there'll be a 4 or 5 pound drum that sets up similar to a smallmouth, but usually when he throws to it, and he can see how it reacts, and he realizes it's not going to be a smallie.
2, 3, 4 keepers quickly. But that obviously didn't work out. Wonder if other people have fished it. They're just not here, man.
Saw Justin come out of the gate, guys, on day one with a great first day, 21 pounds, 7 ounces. And he told us yesterday a little tougher, a little slower. He felt like the wind had shifted, and maybe the current had changed, maybe some of the water clarity had changed, maybe some of the fish had moved. And he landed on a spot yesterday, went through some numbers, and you're seeing him kind of start in that area today, hoping to catch a few keepers, which he told us. He's on the board with a 3-pounder, but one of the keys to Justin Lucas, Marty, is that he's told us, with these smallmouth, you just keep moving. You keep running their, the high percentage areas, the shoals, the boulders, the key places he's found over the years, and you certainly have to feel like Justin Lucas has plenty of bullets left in his holster.
Yeah, and these guys on Erie, the big deal is it's just how long can they stay efficient in being able to move? How long will this wind lay down where they can move? I talked to Todd Faircloth, who's having a good event, 7th place, and he said, Marty, he's been out here on these Great Lakes, and it gets so rough to the point you literally have to fish sitting in your driver's seat. And he said there's a fine line between being efficient and effective, then where it's just it's borderline chaos. What's going on?
That sucks. Really thought I'd come in here and catch a couple keepers. Yeah, I just figured, there's not as big a fish over here, but I thought it was like guaranteed for a few keepers, but typical smallmouth fashion, they're gone. All right, let's roll. Put that camera away. Get a little bumpy.
Guys, we're watching all these anglers in Lake Erie, around the islands, making moves, catching fish. But our St. Clair anglers still making the run. Alton Jones, one of those guys. You can see that he is just hitting the mouth of the Detroit River. Still has a long run to make if he's heading all the way up to St. Clair. But, you guys, the worst is over, right? He's gotten through the tough part.
For the morning. For the morning. Wait until the afternoon.
Yeah.
The story for me right now.
Worst.
Right? Will Erie hold up? This is the story I think that we're watching play out. And every day's a different day for these guys. The last few days we saw Boyd Duckett get off to a slow start. Josh Bertrand get off to a slow start while Justin Lucas and Jeremy Lawyer got off to fast starts. Today we're seeing kind of just the opposite. Will Lake St. Clair come into play with Alton Jones, Spencer Sheffield? Give him some time. Give him some time to get up there, and we're going to find out. That's going to be the story.
When I talked to Junior last night, he said he was not excited about making this run back up there. He told me the first 2 days it's almost to the point of being unbearable. But he also said this, All he needs is 2 hours. Yesterday in 45 minutes, he had about 20 pounds of fish.
We're making to the Detroit River right now. Here's a clip of him earlier today.
The water would definitely be fishable. It's more or less, can you get there? The first day it took me almost 3 hours to get there. Today it only took me 2. And you know, our days are getting shorter every day, you know, throughout the week. And it's a big time management risk. There's a good chance if it blows 20 out of the northeast for very long, it'll take you 4 hours to get there. And at that point it's just not doable. But if I can go and have 3 hours of fishing, I'll absolutely be making that trek across Lake Erie. If it's too rough to make that run, I've got some stuff I can catch a limit of largemouth doing. You know, that a good day would be 12 to 15 pounds. 15 pounds would be a hero bag, whereas St. Clair, that's my first 5 bites weigh that. So if I can't make it, there's a good chance I won't have a shot to win. So if they let us go, I'm gonna at least try.
Sorry, that clip from after the weigh-in on day 2 yesterday. But as we know now, he has made the run.
Well, I want to go touch on Junior a little bit more too. At the beginning of the year, there was a disagreement with him and the existing boat sponsor he had, and it just didn't work out. And he told me to make this point too on live. He went out and bought a Phoenix 921, and he said, Marty, the reason I did, I truly felt like that was going to give me the best opportunity to have the best gear. It's one thing to be sponsored, it's another thing to buy. He bought a 921. He said there's no other boat on the planet that he felt like he could have got in and made the run that he made the last 2 days.
Come on, fish.
We're watching our unofficial leader here, Josh Bertrand.
Right on. So, just caught a couple walleye. Not a bass. It's that 2.5, but we're still just patiently hanging on this area. Stay here until at least 9. I'm not leaving this likely for reasons. One, the wind. And we don't do today. When we're running around, it's a lot longer to get to place, and I just want to be with my line in the water all day. And especially now that we've started with a couple fish, we don't have to go to better spots. I know we can catch a couple 5-pounders or 4.5-pounders if we just live in this 1 mile radius today. The goal is, I shouldn't even be talking about it, I shouldn't even be saying the word, but the goal is to not get seasick today. I've been good this week. I got seasick in Sturgeon Bay one day. Not to the point where I was throwing up, but I was not feeling great. You sit here and stare at your graph all day. You would think a smart person would, well, a smart person definitely would plan for that and take a Dramamine or something, but not me.
And to get an idea what he's talking about, if you try to stare at his graph right now, it's bouncing all over the screen.
Think about our poor camera operators this week. They have earned their combat pay. Not only they got to sit there and hold that camera and keep us in focus so we can see this great coverage, they've got to ride out there with these guys.
As far as the drop shot setup, week. You've heard it a million times. Throw a flatworm. Worn out since it came out a couple years ago. Farther tried. Or green pumpkin and black. So, and throwing it on a 7-foot medium Abu Garcia rod. A Revo Premier 30 reel. Oh man, I think we're potentially going to get bit right here. There's a huge ball of bait and some fish under it. And I'm throwing it on 8-pound Trilene X5 with an 8-pound Berkeley 100% fluorocarbon leader. You hear that?
Back over to Jacob Wheeler. Last we saw, he was having some trolling motor issues, debating whether he was going to head back in to get it fixed, but here is fish number 2 on the Phoenix replay.
Ooh, come here. Come here, buddy. Ooh, come on. Come on, come on. Come on. Slow down. 2-pounder. Throw him in there real quick. There's another one with him. That's why I was trying to get him in so fast. Gosh dang it. Got no spot lock. We're about to run in. I think the service guys are heading in here in a second. And we're going to try to get this figured out. So I have no spot lock, which definitely hurts, and the trolling motor's just not really turning very well. It could go out any moment, so I gotta make sure I have those I mean, that's a big deal, especially here right now. Especially the wind's gonna get worse and worse. I've caught a couple, and I'm seeing them, which I like that. They're set up right. That's a good thing. That should be one right there. That should be one right there. Let me see what. Not caught the big ones though. That's the biggest problem. Not caught any of them big ones. I'm okay for fishing for 4 or 5 bites, 6 bites, 7 bites if they're the right size. Just, I did have one that I felt like was a big one. The other one that I lost was probably 3.5, which is a nice one, but not the main deal.
Some tough decisions getting ready to be made right here. Thinking about pulling it. Wheeler knows how important this morning bite is out there on the Erie, but he also knows how important having that electronic or a trolling motor working where you can have that spot lock capability. Guarantee he's already either texted or called a service crew. Give him a heads up that he's coming in This is where these guys are worth their weight in gold. They'll be sitting on the dock on the ramp waiting on him, and it'll be a quick turnaround. But he's still going to, I would say, conservatively give up an hour being able to make that run and get back in and get back out there, minimum.
And they're just nippers. Nippers, man.
Jacob Wheeler, a guy very much in tune with what it's going to take to win this event, and he knows 4-pounders is what it's going to take. So certainly not the start he was looking for this morning. A couple of fish smaller than he hopes to weigh in today, and some equipment issues. We'll see if he can overcome that adversity.
Back to the man with the hottest start so far here on day 3, Josh Bertrand. Still 3 fish, 11 pounds, has got him in the #1 spot.
And I think we need to point out today, what do we have, 20, 25 marshals out there? So when we say unofficial leaderboard, there's a really good chance that over half our field is either going to be slow in updating or will not update on a regular basis. So this is going to be as unofficial as we've had in our top 50.
So Bertrand's 31 years old, Marty, a guy that you've been covering on the Bass Pro Tour, and a guy that's really kind of finding his element here. Over $700,000 in career earnings at that young age. And, you know, he's a smallmouth guru. Justin Lucas has been very vocal with you about that. A West Coast guy from Arizona, lots of experience on Meade and Roosevelt. Talk us through his approach this week and kind of what he's fishing here on Lake Erie.
Guy's just got an above average, and I mean way above average skill set when it comes to reading electronics from the Lake Havasu area, and we're froze up here on him, so we get to talk about him for a while. Totally different type of smallmouth at Havasu than what's out here in these Great Lakes. Him and Lucas battled it out in 2018 on an elite series on St. Lawrence, and Bertrand ended up winning, and Lucas was second. But for Lucas to call him the best smallmouth fisherman on the planet really made me take notice. And Bertrand, the first time I ever talked with him, I fell in love with the conversation. This guy is a fishing geek. He lives and breathes nothing but fishing. One of the most personable guys I've ever met, and at a young age. I keep saying our young group of anglers, Wheeler included, is as stout as I've ever seen right now. Wheeler's hooked up.
That's a better one, I think. Better ones right there. Oh, it's skinny, but there we go. That's number 3. 2 3/4 pounder. Not a big one. I thought he was a little bit bigger. All these fish on Erie have been fat, and that one was not coming off. This one right here is not. But hey, you need to eat a couple more McDonald's cheeseburgers, bub. Okay, we're starting to dial it in a little bit. I like it. Mike. What's that? No, heck no.
Guys, it seems like actually our anglers that are fishing the islands here are off to a faster start than they were on day two. It seems maybe more like day one. Marty, I think it might have been you that talked to Justin Lucas and said that wind, these rough conditions actually do help the bite. Is that what we're seeing here?
Yeah, and there's a fine line with smallmouth fishing when you get to be too rough out there, and this is not it. But they can also be too calm. The one comment I heard Jeremy Lawyer make this morning, wish it would flatten off slick calm where you can show the world what this place is. When you can get too calm out there on Erie, and we saw that yesterday. This morning, it's the perfect smallmouth wind, and it's opened up a window, and there's more wind coming. So there's a front coming in. There's a sense of urgency, not only with the anglers, but also with the smallmouth, where they're feeding up a lot heavier first thing. And it's still rough enough that it's letting these fish bite, but calm enough these anglers can move around and fish where they want to be at.
Another thing that I think is important to note is that we're down to 50 guys today, and we've seen, almost 190 guys fish in the last few days. And, when I talked to Jeremy Lawyer and Joe Webster last night, they talked about there were guys out there fishing in this area that were getting a few bites a day that now aren't fishing here on day three. And, they were all talking about 5, 7, 8 bites a day is really what they needed to weigh in a good bag. And just an extra bite for one of these guys or an extra 2 bites is going to go a long way. Less fishing pressure out there. And I think, what we're seeing on the scoreboard right now, the Lake Erie guys are making it happen early here on day 3. That could be part of it, Travis, is just a little less fishing pressure here so far.
Plus, the St. Clair guys hadn't even got there yet. I mean, they're still probably just trying to get to where it is they want to fish. We're going to see if they're going to have a magical 2 hours, because no matter what happens up there, they're going to be on a short day. They're going to have a sense of urgency coming back. You're talking about 20-mile-an-hour plus winds this afternoon. You don't want no part of that on Erie.
It's a big risk. Could be a big reward.
Absolutely. And it's fun to watch. You guys, a lot of you guys that maybe tuned in to watch Alton Jones Jr. or Spencer Sheffield and wonder why they have 0 fish, because they have 0 casts so far. They still are going to start fishing. But the great thing is, when those anglers get to St. Clair, their weights jump up real quick. The fish are up there. It's all about the anglers getting there and maximizing their time. We're going to see that as the day progresses, hopefully in our next segment. But we're going to jump up on a next break. For a reminder for you guys that are watching on YouTube or Facebook, we are moving the live feed over to FLWfishing.com right now. And to get there, all you do is go to FLWfishing.com. There is a huge live button right there. If you click that red screen on the homepage, that will take you right to the live feed where you will be able to watch the live coverage, as also below that will be the unofficial leaderboard. So follow along. We invite you guys to come over there. We're going to be right back after a quick break with more Day 3 coverage here on Lake Erie and stop number 6 of the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit.
Oh, we almost had her one. We got her one.
There we go.
That's for sure. Doesn't feel big. He's big. He came in so quick. My gosh, he came in quick. And that's a toad, dude. Golly, look at that thing.